What do you get when you cross a war hero with a child killer? Meet Gilles de Rais, the man who stood beside Joan of Arc as she crowned a king, then spent the next decade systematically torturing and murdering children in his castle dungeons. We're talking about a guy who went from national hero to history's most notorious serial killer in less than 20 years. This isn't some Hollywood fiction. This is the real story of how medieval France's golden boy became its darkest nightmare. A tale so twisted that even today, historians debate whether he was a monster or just the victim of the ultimate medieval setup. By the end of this video, you'll understand how power, isolation, and unchecked desire can turn a saint into Satan himself. And trust me, the truth is far more disturbing than any horror movie could ever be. Born in 1405, Gilles de Rais had everything handed to him on a silver platter. His family owned massive estates across Brittany and Anjou, making him one of the wealthiest men in France before he even hit puberty. When his parents died, young Gilles inherited a fortune that would make modern billionaires jealous. But here's the thing, wealth wasn't enough for this kid. He wanted glory. At just 16, Gilles threw himself into the 100 Years' War with the enthusiasm of someone who'd never seen a real battlefield. And damn, was he good at it. The guy had a natural talent for warfare that caught everyone's attention, especially when he started racking up victories against the English. Then came 1429, the year that changed everything. A peasant girl named Joan of Arc showed up claiming God told her to crown the Dauphin as king. Most nobles laughed her off, not Gilles. He saw something in her, something that convinced him to throw his considerable wealth and military skill behind her cause. What followed was pure magic. Gilles fought beside Joan through some of the most important battles of the war. He was there when she lifted the siege of Orleans, he marched with her to Reims, and when Charles VII finally got his crown, Gilles de Rais stood right beside the throne as one of the most celebrated knights in France. At 24, he was everything medieval society admired, wealthy, brave, loyal, and blessed by God himself. The church even made him a Marshal of France, the highest military honor possible. Gilles de Rais was living the medieval dream. But dreams, especially medieval ones, have a nasty habit of turning into nightmares. Joan of Arc was captured by the English in 1430. A year later, she burned at the stake. Joan's death broke something fundamental in Gilles de Rais. The man who once charged into battle with religious fervor suddenly withdrew from public life, retreating to his sprawling estates like a wounded animal hiding in its den. What he did next would make any financial advisor weep. Gilles began spending money like the world was ending tomorrow. We're talking about theatrical productions that cost more than most kingdoms' annual budgets, complete with elaborate costumes, hired actors, and sets that would make Broadway jealous. He threw banquets that lasted for days, serving exotic foods to hundreds of guests who probably thought he'd lost his mind. But the real red flag? His sudden obsession with alchemy and the occult. Gilles started collecting books on black magic, hiring supposed sorcerers and alchemists who promised to help him